Hi, I'm Dave Campbell, Health, Safety and Environment Director for Eurovia UK. We're here today on our Vauxhall Bridge site, a really exciting project, great work being carried out by our direct employees and supported by our supply chain partners, both internally and externally, something to be really proud of. What we want to talk about this year is the 3 pillars of a safety culture. These are being transparent. What does transparency mean to us as an organisation? Management and leadership, what does that look like in our business and how can we improve? And also dialogue. How do we communicate to people? Is it in the right way? Do we need to do something different? And we want your help and engagement to shape our future in relation to our safety performance. So we're here to have a conversation about transparency across the business in relation really to our approach to mental health, being open about mental health, breaking down the stigma. Can you tell us what your experience has been, Brett?
Yeah, I think certainly 2 years ago it was a very hidden away subject of mental health. We've been through the process in the last 2 years, 18 months of where we are, and now we ask the guys the questions. We say, are you all right? The answer used to be yes, and nowadays they're a bit more open to saying things. I think purely because it's more out there within the environment in what we work in. There's a lot of pressures on the guys, especially this year, and having the openness with the management, being out with the guys, it has been forefront to developing this.
So I've been in the business 5 or 6 years and I've definitely seen a development in mental health over that time. I think it was something that wasn't really spoken about in the industry. And my first experience of that within Eurovia was around 2 years ago when the Black Dot video was put out as part of the International Safety Day, and I think that really opened people's eyes, and it was quite a big moment, I think, across the business. And then from there I think it's grown and grown. It's something that we talk about regularly amongst the team, especially with new members and operatives that come in. It's something that's part of our inductions.
Why is it important that we need to be transparent in the way that we carry out incident investigations?
I think it's important to be transparent because it's not about a blame culture. It's not about just finding out who was at fault or why they're at fault. It's actually about making sure that things don't happen again. So people need to be transparent and give all the detail that they can to a situation. You know, whether that might be seen as positive or there is a mistake that was made, it's important that people share that and stop that from happening again. Because if that does happen again, I think there's a lot of responsibility on other people to make sure that they keep other people safe, and there's a lot to be learned from these things. So for me, that's why it's important to be transparent when there is incidents and when we have these investigations.
I'd like to just ask you, why is it important that we measure the Health and Safety Climate Survey, and what does it tell us?
I think it's really important for us as a business to consult employees, because we're the people that are on the ground, on the site, so we can give honest feedback about what actually happens day to day on site and what the true safety culture is on site, which will then inform policies and procedures that will go out sector-wide into different divisions, different contracts. And it's really important that we do need to be open and honest about what goes on a day-to-day basis, just to make sure that we're keeping everyone safe.
I know the safety tours are as and when, and they're when they can be in a diary. But the feedback from the climate survey and sort of doing a you said we did for that is a really good way to show people that it's worth filling them in, and there is going to be a change if they give feedback either way. You know, we do it for our near misses, and we get a really positive response. You know, on a monthly basis, you can see the changes that were made from the small things that people were reporting. So I think that's a good incentive for people to fill them out and make sure they get their feedback back to the division.
I think within the communities as a business where we are and where we're going as a business, the amount of information we now share and don't hide has been fantastic. Yeah, we share events, we share incidents, and that's right across the construction industry and the maintenance industry, RSTA, the MPA, the Highways England contracts, you know, all over. Everyone shares the information, which is, it brings it together as a group unit and an entity.
Men don't really want to talk about their feelings and saying that obviously things are a bit down and stuff like that. You will find some people do come up and I've had a bad day today, but before you know where they're chatting to you, saying it, and you know, if you just listen, well, look, it's not a problem. Do you want to have a cup of tea? Go and have a sit down for half hour.
Because I think this is a proper men industry kind of thing, and the people think it's a rough and tough.
Yeah.
I think people don't want to talk about it, even they feel a little bit down or upset or kind of those things, because obviously if they talk about it, they feel they're going to be kind of pushed to the side.
Yeah.
But I think it's because everything is changing at the minute. The times are changing and the people are changing. I think people feel a little bit more comfortable talking about it. We as a good friends, you know, as a big family, so we talk to each other quite a lot. So we kind of see those problems in the minute they're happening. So I think, yeah, it's all good, yeah.
Yeah, you just got to try and help each other out.
So the second pillar of the safety culture is in relation to management and leadership.
I think having a close relationship with the people that work for your team, as part of your team, so regularly going to site, not necessarily part of a safety tour. You know, every time we visit site, it shouldn't be for an audit, and it's not for an audit. I think there's you know, that sort of transparency of just going to site, seeing what's going on, building a relationship with the guys there, being able to have open conversations around what's going on, maybe solving problems together. And I think it makes you approachable as well as a leader and a manager. People, you know, if they see you around all the time and build that relationship, they won't mind picking up the phone to ask questions. And I think that for me is a really important part about being a manager and a leader is having that presence with people.
Yeah, we can get out there. We don't always have to do the site audits every time we go to site. Matt is right. We can go out, be approachable with the guys. We can pass any information on. We can give the feedback from the use that we did direct, and we can take any questions from the guys. I think it's important for that approachability as a business, and to be right that they can pick the phone up and speak to you anytime rather than saying it's just my line manager.
Yeah, Dave, I think we're doing quite well as you know, from my perspective. One particular example that I actually liked was you know, yesterday there was the roadshow that happened, and it was done through digital means, so you could be at home or in your office or wherever you are on site, and dial in and listen to the senior management talk about, you know, where the business is going, looking back, looking forward as well. You know, the management is coming back and consulting and communicating in a good, effective, and you get trust in there through that method as well. So yeah, really good.
I think it's really important that managers and senior leaders consult with employees on the ground. I think most of our relationships, you know, within our own site teams and project teams, they're kind of all built up with the informal exchanges and conversations and things that happen, not necessarily about work, but that's kind of how you get to know someone and know your team. So I think being able to speak to someone face to face on site rather than just sort of knowing a name on an email, actually putting a face to the name, I think it's really important that we both have trust and open communication between each other.
Yeah, Nulu, you made an excellent point in terms of, you know, people being visible and sort of, you know, that leadership that coming through. And if you look at, you know, a couple of weeks ago we had both Scott and Dave come on site. When they left, the morale of the site, the people on site, it was just a feel good factor that, you know, the leaders have just come and saw their job, you know, their pride in terms of what they do. So, you know, leadership has a huge impact on the staff that are delivering. So yeah, it's very, very important for us as leaders to lead the way.
Eurovia's take on safety is quite personal, and I felt like everybody's part of a big family, and everybody seemed to have safety first, and nothing, you didn't get pushed to do anything that you didn't felt were unsafe, but I'll just do it this one time. It were really good.
It's a very good team we have here on site. Any problems we can talk to each other and we solve the problems on site. It never was a problem with no one to communicate. So I think, yeah, we've got a very good team here. Okay. Yeah, I'm very happy with it, yeah.
They're always there. They use the policy that the office door's always open. If you have got a problem, we come and talk about it.
Yeah.
So we can sort it out amongst them. But yeah, they've been very friendly and, like I say, as helpful as they can for everything.
At a very early stage of coming on the job, you seem to get to know everybody from the top to the bottom on the same level straight away. Everybody was still approachable at that stage, just because everybody kind of knew you on first name terms straight away. It weren't like they'd go and speak to their line managers, then come and approach you. It seemed to be like they'd approach you straight away rather than going through that chain, which felt really good.
You're learning every day with a job like this, and I think as we're getting to the end of it, we're getting better and better. So that's a good point, really.
The third pillar of the safety culture is dialogue.
From my experience onboarding people into my team, you know, the onboarding process has been quite straightforward in terms of setting someone up with a buddy and making sure that they've got that one-to-one communication with somebody that they can always go and ask that question to. If that person doesn't know the answer, they can go and ask somebody else, but they've got that person who is there for them to help them through learning the Eurovia processes and asking questions. And I think that's a really good thing that Eurovia have implemented recently, is that kind of buddy system.
For me, someone who has been onboarded this year and gone through the process, I actually preferred, so my first day, I had a whole day with my line manager, spoke to me everything about the business, about the history, about the processes, everything about it. And I just felt more connected with the business, and I could feel the culture of just having that one-to-one dialogue with my line manager. And I felt more part of the business on day one than I probably would have done if it was online on a course somewhere.
It was on the Vinci Innovation Day two years ago, and the Vinci guys in France had the signs on the side of the van, and they have a daily briefing on it. We're just working on, I was England Area 7's an AD PC, and we took the Novo board, we actually put it on the cabins now, and it has a site briefing on with the QR code each night. That briefing sent out to everyone during the day. They sign in at night to say they've had it, but all the information's there. We can write who's on site on there, we can write the exact locations, the surface is working, the anti-skid guys are working, the loops, where the traffic management is, what time possession is, and everything's on there for everyone to see. So there's no excuse when you come to site to sit you into an office. We can do it all outside. That's been a fantastic result.
Perfect example of making dialogue work for you in your business.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
If you look back on our safety journey we've been, certainly as a business and an industry, when we start consulting with our workforce and our staff, the safety journey we've been is phenomenal, the past 10 years. And I think, with sort of mental health and wellbeing, we're early sort of adopters on that past couple, 2-3 years. So I think we probably need to engage with them more. Like we've got the construction working group looking at certain initiatives there. Maybe we need a health and wellbeing group that we can consult with and interact with and sort of try and understand which direction do we need to go in. That's right for the business and for our employees as well.
So the climate survey results, comparing the ones this year to the ones 2 years ago, most divisions have got incremental improvements in the safety culture. Some haven't. Some have gone backwards. Why is it important to understand that, and what do we need to do about it?
I think it's like most things with data, probably understanding your baseline data to where we are now. We do know that this year our sort of percentage return is probably higher than we've ever had it before, so we'll probably get an accurate picture. We know in terms of what we need to do in terms of improving. People are saying they want more to do with mental health. I think it's great that people are allowed to open up and say that. That will probably give us more of an onus to focus that probably in 2 years' time to make sure we address that issue as well.
Certainly for the business I work in, getting the information across to my guys is paramount. So having that one-to-one or a team talk with them is great. They do understand it then. Have you read that piece of paper? Yes. Did you take it in? I don't know. But having that one-to-one conversation with them, you can actually ask questions at the end of that, which is great.